Imagine having people in your life telling you you're not going to be successful. It's the first problem right there.
Yeah, get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Just your mother?
No.
Just your mother, Nat.
Yeah. Cut.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Well,
Should we do introductions?
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
Like with Shaylin, I just started it.
Oh, okay.
Then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey man, it's like 7:30. Are we gonna start this?" I'm like, "Man, it's been going for like 40 minutes."
At the end, doing the
Yeah.
introduction. I'm Shaylin, by the way.
Yeah. So, you want to? Let's do it.
Sure.
Chief Savannah. Savannah. Standing ready. How are you?
Good. Doing good. Busy, chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
hectic, but good. Really good. Do I introduce myself?
Do it.
Savannah.
Okay, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are without using what you do.
Ooh,
Who are you without that?
without what I do.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, podcast. My name is Savannah Standingready. I am from the White Bear First Nation, and I am. This is good. This is nerve-wracking. I'm a mother. I can use that. That's still kind of what I do.
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. Cut that part.
I think it says a lot that's your go-to.
Yeah.
Because that's
I
awesome.
thought about this on the way here. I thought about this. Okay, you know what? Take two. Even if you leave, take one. Hello, everybody. Hello, podcast. My name is Savannah Standingready. I am from the White Bear First Nation. I am a mother to one. I am an aunt. I am an older sister. And those are just some things that come to mind. Those are my absolute favorite hats that I wear. I am an oldest daughter. I am a friend. I am a self-proclaimed comedian. That's it. We'll leave it there. Hi, everyone. Okay, let me preface this. I am a little nervous. When you ask me what I'm nervous about, I don't have an answer. So
Probably because of just how the level of my intelligence is so great.
and we've had really good conversations over the years.
Yeah.
Really good conversations.
Yeah, to me, like, because you're one of my favorite people to talk to because of how your mind works and how your brain works. It's like, you like leave me thinking about things more than most people.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And even when there's life situations happening or people ask me for advice, a lot of the times I will say, "Oh, I had a really good conversation with Cole about this." And even if we are coming from different mindsets, we agree to disagree. It's never, "I think you're wrong." It's always, "That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think that? Why do you think that? What happened in your life to make you think that?" In both good and bad ways. So I think all the time, I just was talking to Jess yesterday and I said, actually, I had a really good conversation with Cole about this. And I'm like, if I had $1 every time, just because you have such good takeaways and you're always coming from an unbiased place, I think is like my favorite thing about our conversations. And it makes me think too about how one-sided I might be thinking about something or biased, or knowing that it's okay to not know at all what you're even talking about. But
Yeah.
let's learn and let's unpack that. Right. So you have a lot of knowledge. You have a lot of knowledge for someone who has a small head.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Joke's on you. I have a big head.
So do I.
Yeah, it's cool because I feel like we're both open-minded. I think we both. Well, Me for sure, but like I'm assuming just by knowing you and having conversations with you, um, we were both like very stubborn for a long time and stuck in our thinking.
Yes.
And then now, especially like over maybe the last like 7 or 8 years, like my mind has like opened
Yeah.
and I've been really good at taking in other ideas and like throwing out old ideas that aren't working anymore and just like navigating the world that way and not looking at so much as like good and bad, but more of like just like how do I get better? How do I get better?
Yes.
And like not judging others because like they're just on their own journey. We're on our
Exactly.
journey and just
Yes.
like everything's fine.
Yeah.
And
And
I think
also,
you're like that as well.
I think with that comes a lot of taking back. There's power in that for your own well-being, not being open to it all and not letting anyone else's influence make you jaded or an angry person. And that's literally it, just understanding that everybody is on their own journey. Mine is not theirs, theirs is not mine. It's not my burden to carry, my burden is not theirs to carry. And there's something to learn, and that's something I've been thinking about, is the takeaways that I have from so many people in my life. Everybody has left such a long lasting impact on myself, where I refer to what people have taught me, or even so much as what not to do, right? And being able to be open to have that conversation and being very accountable and transparent, also just in the sense of honesty has taken me further in the last couple of years than being dishonest with myself ever has. And I think remembering that when I'm having really good conversations, being able to be vulnerable and authentic lets people be, hey, me too, instead of, oh, I can't believe she's sharing that. Or um, I don't agree with her, right? You don't have to agree with everything that everybody says. I would actually think there's a problem in agreeing with everything that everybody says, right? But yeah, just growing up and finding my place within my relationships and my friendships with people, honesty, accountability. And it's kind of funny because sometimes people in my life, having younger sisters and close friends, being known as almost the accountability friend, where, and I would hope for that, for it to be a reciprocal thing. I hold you accountable, you also hold me accountable, and that's how we get better, right? And I find that often in our conversations,
Right.
being very open and saying, I had a lot of growing to do and I haven't always been good to people, in my past. And what does that look like now? And have I learned anything from it? Right. And we can laugh about these things and say, yeah, that was really fucked up that you that you said that, right? That was really fucked up that you did that. But owning your shit of who you are, finding confidence in that, and again taking back that power. It's power to be honest. It's powerful to be authentically yourself. And I think that's something a lot of younger people might struggle with, right? Trying to fit in, trying to agree with what everybody says. I know that was the case for me, anyways, being a people pleaser. And just straying away from that has done me so much more good than harm. And in previous years, it was definitely the opposite. Kind of went on a tangent there. Kind of
But a good tangent.
good tangent.
I that I think it's harder to lie all the time.
Yeah.
Because you get lost in your lies, or sometimes like some people are so bad. Like we can clearly see what you're saying isn't true. Like that's not how you act. That is not how that went.
Yep.
You know. So it's just like for me, it's just like a calming, peaceful. Uh, Keeps me calm
Yep.
and peaceful. Just like being truthful,
Yes.
being who I am, and then just like not like unforgivably.
Yes.
Like I'm pretty maybe blunt and I'm pretty like I just say what's on my mind. And people who don't like that leave.
Yeah.
And the people who prefer that stay.
Or
So
people can relate to that stay.
Yeah,
Right.
and it makes it easy to be me.
Yes.
You know, because I'm not gonna change because I'm in a different room or what. It's like even, it's funny because I was uh you know how it upsets me when people are late.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Thought about that on the way here.
Jason was late,
Yeah.
and that's the first thing I said to him when he walked in the door. What are you doing? Why are you late? And then at the end of the podcast is because he apologized, like, I'll be on time next time. But it's just funny.
Yeah.
You know, he's just giving a grown man heck
Yeah.
for being late.
Being
But
late. I thought about that. It
it's
was
just like
4:50. I was stuck in traffic in Attridge. Like, oh man, I'm not gonna hear the end of this. If I stroll in there at 5:05, even if I text you beforehand, right? And those are one of my takeaways. It's people being true to their word.
yeah.
Right? We agreed on 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh shit.
It's good though. But because some of the things I want to talk to you about is like you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You know, you're a mother, you're a CEO, you're a public speaker now,
Yeah.
and now you're running for council.
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
If you would have told me 6 months ago, if you would have told me 8 days ago, actually, that this was how things were going to pan out. And, you talk about the public speaking. That has never been my hat to wear, ever. A lot of years in my early 20s and mid 20s were spent, how do I make myself as small as possible? How do I do quality work without needing to be the face of something? And so you talk about public speaking. There's times where I still get nervous, but I think because I found now what I was passionate about, and that wasn't the case before. I was strolling around, in life, wrapped up in being a mom and knowing, okay, I know these things that I think I'm passionate about, but I'm not good at them. Right. And so wellness, was I practicing wellness in my life in my early 20s? Not really. Right. I wasn't taking care of myself. And so it was always just the question of, who am I to do these things that I say that I'm passionate about? So eventually, instead of just talking the talk, how do I start walking also? Right. And so you talk about public speaking. I still get nervous. I still get I still get shaky. I still get the sweaty hands and all these things, but it's a different kind of, it's almost excitement now, where I know that I can deliver a good job. And those are just acquired skills that came when I've been put into positions to public speak, starting, with naval wellness and being a facilitator. I came into that role being a brand ambassador. There wasn't speaking involved in that, right? Take some pictures and then putting my administrative work to use. And my administrative work I enjoyed because it was behind the scenes. That was safe for me, right? I know that I'm good at this. I know I've always been good at, technology, and administrative work. And so doing that, bringing that to the table with naval wellness, I can plan, I can organize, I can schedule, I can do all of these things. And that came from being an executive assistant for multiple years for multiple, First Nations organizations. And then they asked me to start facilitating. And that was scary. And it actually even makes me feel, I can still remember how I felt, even though I think we were going to a school, maybe a Takakoop, and you've been to a Takakoop with along with us, and there's maybe 15 students, and I was shaking. I was like, I can't do this. A group of kids, they don't give a shit. They're there to have fun. They want someone to relate to, right? And so kind of finding my stride that way. And I always give credit to Naval Wellness. Naval Wellness changed my life in the terms of I was able to quit a corporate job, right? And find my stride. And it was just crazy for me to think, am I supposed to love what I do this much? Is this normal to think this is my job that I get to do every single day and to love doing it? And that's been a tendency that I've been trying to work through and grow out of, is talking myself out of these experiences. And maybe it's a form of self-sabotage, but ultimately knowing I found something that I love doing and I'm passionate about it. Let's run with it. And taking that leap, there's a lot of risk in quitting your, stable job security, especially as a single mother, right? And I think I was 26 at the time, and my family told me not to do it. My family said you need to stick where it's safe. And ultimately knowing that, am I going to take charge of my own life? I think was the question of that year or that 6 months that I was constantly asking myself. And it came to a point where I was like, fuck it. Let's go and let's do it and let's see what happens. With the background that I have, if things don't work out, I have something to fall back on. I've created I've created stability for myself already. What happens when you actually do the opposite? Because right now you have these good feelings and this passion and this fire that is starting to ignite. Right. So I give Naval Wellness a lot of credit. I gave the founders a lot of credit. It really did change my life. Without it, I don't think I would be confident in a lot of skills that I have now. Maybe I would still be doing, administrative work. Maybe I would still be doing a lot of the behind the scenes work, which is still the case now. But I know that I've gained way more skills from that. Right. And it's almost like we talk about my candidacy to run for head women or council, right, for my community. It's almost like everything that I've went through the last couple of years prepared me for moments like this, right? And it's like opportunity. And that's something you and I talked about, wanting opportunity, craving opportunity. How can I create opportunity for myself? And then something like this happens and you're gifted opportunity on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm.
My initial thought was, should I talk myself out of this? Am I ready for this? Is this gut feeling that I have fear, or is it actual true feelings of being not ready? Right. And something I've been talking about in therapy is leaning into those scared and leaning into the unknown, because every time I've done it, something incredible has come out on the other side of it. Right. So yeah, I wear a lot of hats. I wear 50 hats. I love every single one of them. I truly love all of them. They've led me to be very proud of my character. And that's something I would struggle to say before. I would struggle to say, I love myself and I love what I do and I love my character and I love this person that I am. Being able to confidently say that wasn't the case before, right? And a lot of mistakes, a lot of fuck ups had to happen for me to get to this point. So now I have 5 weeks of campaigning to do. And as we know, I can't stand small talk. I would rather know your entire life story before we say, hey, how are you? Good. And then nothing. I would rather unhash all the issues, all the highlights, everything before I have small talk. And again, really leaning into the unknown, especially with this. And I'll tell you a little bit of context on how this candidacy came to be. It was my grandmother who had nominated me. And the timeline of events that led up to this conversation you had, a conversation I've had with my partner, is feeling like I am outgrowing some areas of my life and feeling a lot of guilt about that, outgrowing some of my friendships, outgrowing these things that felt comfortable for so long, and knowing I was outgrowing them, but not knowing what to do about it. And so we talk about this, and then all of a sudden, and I was at MLTC's women's conference, and there's a speaker. Her name is Marcia Morasti, and I think she's the health director for MLTC. She approached me after I had spoke at MLTC's women conference, and she said, you are made to public speak. And she said, we need the younger generation to start stepping into these leadership positions. And I said, that's so funny you say that. My nominations are actually happening in my community right now. I know it's in the cards for me, but I don't think right now. I love what I do. This is comfortable for me. Although in the back of my mind, I knowing I've been craving opportunity, right? And so it was so funny. So I sat down with Jess, and we were about to have lunch, and I checked my phone. My phone is blowing up. I have about, I'm not even kidding, 15 to 20 Facebook messages, and people are congratulating me. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What are we talking about? And I see, of course, on Facebook First Nation, the newspaper, that I was nominated for council. And my initial thought was fear. My initial thought was anxiousness. I am not prepared to step into a role such as this. And knowing that I was a little bit hurt almost that my family had not orchestrated, but my family was in on this. And they told me, we didn't tell you because if we told you, you would have said no. They were right. 100% right. You sleep on it, right? And again, that gut feeling that was so familiar. My family telling me before, play it safe, do the right thing, do what's stable, do what's, familiar to you. And taking the leap and having that in my brain, every time you've taken the leap when you were scared, something really good has come out of it. And sleeping on that and thinking about that over until I had to accept my nomination. You're only given so many days to accept it. Having so many great conversations with elders in my community, believing in me and saying, you're ready and you're up for the task. Again, that self-doubt coming in. But it was a different self-doubt. It was wanting to make my community and these elders and these matriarchs proud, wanting to make them proud. Am I capable of doing that in this work that I'm doing? And I had a really good conversation with Hal Cameron about this. He is so smart.
Yeah.
He has so much wisdom beyond his years. And he gave me, the ins and outs of what leadership looks like as someone, taking on that role in the younger generation. And he said, you know what? Ultimately, if you're not ready, that job position isn't going anywhere. That's something that you can always pursue. You can always chase, whether it's 2 years down the road, 4 years down the road, whatever it is. And so with that, I really sat on it. I thought about it so hard and waking up and knowing that I was ready. Mm-hmm. It was almost, was it validation that I needed? Right? Because that's something that you and I have talked about that I've struggled with before. Or is it just one of those things where it's like, just fucking send it, Savannah. Just go for it. What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain. Your nation has everything to gain. And people want change. People want fresh perspective. They want fresh insight. They want acquired leadership skills, right, from someone who has went and got their education and this work experience to bring back home to our nation, right? So taking all of that and ultimately knowing, okay, if there's one thing I believe in, it's not doing anything half-heartedly. Doing it with everything that you have or not at all. And that was my work. My work ethic is something I'm very proud of. Anything from my administrative work to NAWA Wellness to Mio Movement and now this. So that's when I say it seems like years have prepared me for this role specifically. And who knows, maybe I won't get in 5 weeks. Maybe I won't get elected in 5 weeks, but I tried my best. And the conversations and the relationships I've built in the last week are worth it in itself.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. So it's, again, this trend is me going on tangents and speaking,
but it's good.
Just
it's
running
good.
with it. So going back to those hats that I wear.
Yeah. You should I should introduce you to Jason. You should go for coffee with Jason too, because he just finished his campaign.
And how long was that? Do you know?
I don't.
I feel like it's been they get quite a good amount of time to campaign.
Yeah. And his is obviously like all of Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
He's been traveling all of Saskatchewan, just to different communities, but
good for him.
I'm sure he would have some cool advice too.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
To make that connection. And I just love hearing people's insight.
Mm-hmm.
Not only people from leadership positions, anybody hearing insight. I've had conversations, with Tyler George, and he is the youngest counselor to ever be elected for Ochapowace. He is the very first Two-Spirit counselor to ever be elected for Ochapowace. The networking connections, the relationships he's built are incredible. I actually sat down with him Saturday night, and we sat down for supper, and we sat there at Cactus Club for 5 hours. The conversation was just so incredibly insightful. And Hal too, right?
Yeah.
Having these conversations with Hal, and it almost makes me so proud of our generation and the education and the experience that they have, the insight that our generation has makes me so hopeful. People talk about change. Change is coming.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, right? But how can we take our leaders' knowledge, and how do we put that, and how do we work together with them to combine the two? Both are equally as important, right? Knowledge keepers and elders, they only function through storytelling. They're not getting on Facebook. They're not getting on Google, on Wikipedia, and putting what they know there. You have to go and visit them, right, to learn. So now how do we, who has advantages and disadvantages, technology is everything. How do we combine the two and make it work in a very respectful way? Indigenous worldview and modern day. This is good.
I think you have a little bit of a head start on that too, because of the companies you helped build.
Mm-hmm.
Newa Wellness and Meal Movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you pretty much spent your last how many years? 4?
Yeah.
Uh,
Holy crap. Yeah.
campaigning for a movement. It's
Advocating for change.
it's not just a company, right?
Yeah.
They have um values. They have they follow the medicine wheel. They want to help indigenous youth, indigenous adults, and I feel like you've built the exact tools you need, to help your community.
Yeah.
So, and even just like being able to recognize an opportunity, like, some people get opportunities and they don't even realize they got an opportunity.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there like, how come I never get any opportunities?
Yeah.
Because imagine at one point in your life, you would have been maybe picked and you would have just brushed it off.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been even in the opportunity category. It would have been something you were laughing about.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha, I got, but you're at a point in your life where, like, not only did you build skills, but you built the ability to recognize opportunities, recognize like doors opening and what to do with them, which is powerful.
And taking initiative.
Right.
Initiative is everything.
Yeah.
You can't sit around and wait. This world is too big. There is too much to do. There's too much to see. There's too much to experience. If you sit and wait for it, that's all you're ever going to do. And that's something that I've learned in the last number of years. And learning that from people who are trailblazing paths. They're literally creating paths that don't exist, right? And we talk about Kayla. Kayla being the founder, of Mio movement, and having a big part of Newa Wellness. That takes a lot of guts. That takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of mistakes. It takes a lot of really big fuck ups until you come out on the other side confident of your ability. Maybe we'll never be extremely confident in knowing what we're capable of, because there's always the unknown, but you develop tools to be less afraid of what happens if you fail. Failure is inevitable. Failure is going to happen no matter what. It's how you handle it. And that's something you have taught me, is even if you fail, who cares? So what? You learned and you move on to the next thing. And that's something that I take away with all of the crazy shit that you've made me do, that you've been there, what I've done. It's so funny. I was actually facilitating Mio Movement's 8-week challenge, and we had our weekly Zoom call, and I was talking about doing things when you're scared and doing things that are unfamiliar, and I've started telling stories, and I started talking about the bungee jumping story and how you were there. And to this day, I've never been more scared in my entire life of anything. I've never felt that amount of fear looking down and thinking I have to jump off of this. Right. And then I talked about the 100,000 steps. I've talked about the Barbarian Challenge, and a participant in the challenge, and was like, I'm starting to see a common denominator here. Cole has been there for all of this. And I said, that is so true. And I've never realized it. And they asked, did Cole go bungee jumping? He didn't even come up the stairs, but he was saying, you can do it, Savannah. You're crazy to do it, but you can do it. And that was so cool. And it's really funny because we talk about these, friendships, and I wish this friendship on everybody. And I know a lot of people say that about you. It's your insight on things, having these really good conversations with Jess in the marathon, and Jess and her relationship with running. And she, has really good things to say that you've shared with her. And it's just like, Cole has so much knowledge. Cole has so much, even if it's like, oh, did you see this TikTok? Oh, did you see this video? And it's like top 10 stupidest thing. I'm never watching that again. It's like, but you have a lot of knowledge. You have a lot to share, and you have really good insights. Some of the TikToks or Instagram reels that you send me, I'm a little concerned about his For You page.
Yeah.
How did this come up? But vice versa.
Yeah.
Because
now you send me it. And now, as soon as I see anything, I just tag it.
Oh, that is
send it.
Funny.
Anything with hot dogs.
Yeah. I've never eaten a hot dog since. I've never eaten one. You know what? They deserve to know. People deserve to know this story, okay? So last summer, we did the Sandman Summer Games. That was a blast. Those were some of the hardest things I have ever done, in both physicality, but the mental aspect of things. You orchestrated that very well. It hit every part that I can personally think of, right? It challenged me when I already was feeling, I was going through some things in life, and I was already feeling, you know what? I'm going to do these games. This might be the highlight, of my summer. Turned it out to be that, but so one of the events was stair sprints. If you've ever been down, was it Spadina? No. Was it Spadina?
Yeah.
Where the stairs are?
Yeah.
Lengthy set of stairs. And I was under the impression that we were going to practice. We were going to practice run these stairs. I'm like, perfect. This is great. My family friends were having a barbecue, and I take it upon myself. I'm like, oh, hot dogs? There's hot dogs here. I'm going to crush the whole thing on the drive to do these stair sprints. Okay. And then he says, no, this is the real deal. Like, you're sprinting for your time. You have to sprint 3 times up the stairs, and the shortest accumulated time would move on to the next round. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have ate that foot-long hot dog on the drive here had I known I had to sprint for time. Right. I thought we were practicing. So anyways, scrape by that event. When I say scrape by, I mean hands and knees.
She actually had to do it 4 times because one of the rounds she bumped the rail, you weren't supposed to use the rail.
Yeah.
So she actually had to do it an extra time.
Yeah. Scrape by, hands and knees, projectile. I won't get into too much detail. The contents of the hot dog didn't stay where they were supposed to, and I haven't eaten a hot dog since. PTSD. Cass still sends me videos. Good. Hot dog videos. Good. And I'm like, never again. Even smelling them, I'm like, no, I'm never doing that again.
But moved on to the next round.
Moved straight by. It was the what was the one that took me out?
I think Barbarian.
Barbarian. Yep.
Yeah.
the Barbarian Challenge.
That one you almost cried.
That one,
times.
I almost cut off our friendship. Cried. Almost told my partner, Darren, to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Right? He was so upset with me. You're handling this like a wimp, Savannah. You are capable of so much more than what you're doing right now.
I was like, hey, there's some chalk in the gym. You should go find it.
I was mentally beat probably 30 seconds in. 30 seconds in, I was like, this isn't feeling too good. This isn't feeling great. But the thing was, it was all mental. My grip strength felt good. My recovery time was shit. That's ultimately what it was.
Yeah.
So in my brain, I'm like, my grip strength is fantastic at the time. I'm going to fly by this. Absolutely not. And then I heard, I think it was Dem or you that told me Lancia's time. And I said, I think it was like 34 minutes or something like that. And I was like, 34 minutes? Are you fucking joking? Are you kidding me? And I'm sitting there with I think it was like an hour and 27 minutes or something like that. Love ya, but you couldn't pay me to do that shit again.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
That was good.
So season 2 starts.
Season 2 starts in
31st.
1 week or 10 days.
10 days.
10 days. That's going to be a time. Qualifying is 100,000 steps.
Yeah. It'll be good. It'll be fun. Some people are coming back. Most people aren't.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that for them.
Yeah.
Love that for them. If I feel like my ankle is in worse shape now than what it was last year. And I remember getting through the first loop. And the first loop I think is roughly 25,000 if I can remember correctly. Remember after 25,000, I think it was me and Lucas hobbling already.
Yeah.
And I think it was his hamstring.
Kyle as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that was fun. Actually, that is extremely deceiving. Yeah. That event is extremely deceiving. You have to walk.
It's fun after, but while you're in it,
yeah,
it's the least fun thing you'll ever do.
Yeah.
But then after you're like,
when we say after,
like weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not days.
No.
You can't walk.
I couldn't walk the next day. So
I literally went into shock and I was like shivering.
Yeah. And you finished the entire thing. I did 80,000. You finished an extra 20 on top of that.
Yeah. But at that point, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. That was wild. Who comes up with that, first of all?
Honestly, I just seen it on YouTube like 5 years ago. It's funny. So the first time I ever did it was 5 years ago. I did it with Cree.
Yeah.
I was watching YouTubes. And then I seen people doing this step challenge. It was like 11 at night. And it doesn't seem very hard. Like just walking.
Yeah.
So I called Cree. I'm like, hey, we should do this 100,000 steps. And then we decided to do it.
Was he skeptical or he was like, yeah, I'll do it?
No, he's like, yeah, let's go. I was like, okay, tomorrow? He's like, sure. He woke up at 5 a.m. the next day and started.
And you finished the very first time?
I did. Cree didn't.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like
Cree hurt his foot.
Yeah.
So he was like limping.
Yeah. And did you progressively get faster over the years?
Yeah, because the first time took us almost the whole 24 hours.
Wow.
And this last time we just did it in 18.
Yeah.
And
that is crazy.
Yeah, honestly, the last year was the easiest for me.
Wow.
That was the 5th or 4th time doing it.
Yeah.
And it was the easiest one. The second time was the hardest.
Okay.
I almost quit.
What do you think contributed to that?
Like the mental. Because like at one point I was thinking like, oh, I did this already. You know, like I was trying to like excuse my way out of it. One time I sat on a bench and I was so sure I was not getting back up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just down. Like.
If I had advice to anybody, don't even think about sitting down.
I was just like, I did this last year. I already did it. I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
And then Cree like.
And it was raining last year when we did it too.
Yeah, last year it was rain.
Yeah. And then it was nice out into the afternoon, into the evening. But I think it was all once you hit. I would even say once you hit maybe 40,000. it's all a blur after that. You're just hanging on. It's literally...
And Savannah's toes are just hanging on.
My toes were hanging on by a thread. My toenails fell off for like months after that.
Yeah. Yep.
Poor ladies. Or poor pedicure ladies.
Okay, well, back. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about leadership.
Okay.
Because that's... When I think of you, Savannah, I think of leadership. Because every hat you wear is a leadership hat.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would not think you're meant to be a leader on your community.
Because mostly because nobody has ever held this position at 30 years or younger. I'm not sure what the youngest is, but in previous years, it is all well lived, well experienced, well educated members of leadership who have held these positions. And so I think going into that, I doubted myself a lot in terms of I don't know enough. I know less than I would like to admit of terms of governance, the political terms. And something that Hal told me was there's a difference between being a leader and being a politician. When you sign up for this and when you accept your nomination, you're not signing up to be a politician. And those are acquired skills that you're going to learn if you're given the opportunity to be in that role. That was an incredible takeaway. Right. And that's something that really resonated with me because that was a really big thing in, can I do this? Not only can I do this, but can I do it well? Because like I said, if I'm doing this, I'm all in, right? There's no such thing as half-ass. It's whole ass or not at all, right? And so accepting this nomination, and you're right. And I talked about this in therapy today, actually. And I said, I don't know enough in terms of governance and political terms. And she said, as an Indigenous person, Savannah, you were never supposed to. And when she said that, I got emotional. I had so much thoughts that came to my mind. I'm not doing this to have it all figured out. I'm doing it to be an advocate and a representative of younger generations, right? I'm not that young. I'm 30 years old. And applying what I've learned.
That's young.
Well, depends who you ask. I feel like it's not that young. Interesting. Interesting.
Continue.
And so I'm thinking about all of these things, and you're right. All these hats that I wear require leadership in some way or form, right? In my work life and being a CEO for a small business and in parenthood and being an oldest child, there is a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And so being able to transition where I'm at now into a role that I initially thought was bigger than myself, knowing that it's not about me, taking that pressure off of myself and being an advocate and being a representative, like I said, for our younger generation. If I don't do it, when will someone do it? If not me, who? And if not now, when? And that's something that I truly believe in the last few years of my life. And we talk about taking the leap, right? And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not coming into it thinking I have it all figured out. Because I don't, right? And I'm not in it to say I'm going to make all this change. I'm promising to do all of these things. All I can do is show up as my best self with the knowledge that I have, the confidence that I have, the experience, and knowing you grew up on the res. This is who you are. This is everything that you could have actually asked for, is the opportunity you are given right now. And just trying to take everything with a grain of salt, knowing that I'm not going to make everybody happy if elected. But what I can do is be that advocate and create space for the younger generation to start occupying these roles. At what point do we let the knowledge keepers rest? Right? In my personal opinion, we shouldn't have elders still spending hours working and serving their nation? At what point can we let them rest and do our due diligence of filling those roles? And I think that's extremely important. And maybe there is fear as to why someone in the younger generation hasn't stepped up yet. Maybe they feel like they won't make a difference, right? And feeling that way myself sometimes, but ultimately knowing I have a purpose. And I think my purpose up until this point has prepared me for that, to sit at tables that I couldn't have imagined sitting at in previous years, right? All I talked about was being behind the scenes. Savannah, you have what it takes. Step up to the plate now because you're given the opportunity, or don't complain, right? How can I complain about things and change that isn't happening if I'm not willing to be that, right? To be that representative, to be that change, even if it's just bringing fresh perspective to the table, because that I'm a huge believer in that. We can all learn from each other. We can all, if we're all coming from a unified position and we want to work together, to me, that builds a progressive community, that builds a progressive nation, wanting to work together and coming from different avenues, but working towards the same goal, right? And that's serving our community. So when I started taking the pressure off of myself, the vision became so much more clear. And I was able to write down these thoughts. It's not about me. It's not about if I'm going to do a fantastic job. It's not about making this incredible change overnight. It's about showing up. It's about showing up and doing what I can and serving my nation the best of my ability. That's going to that's going to be the change. The small tasks are going to lead to the big change. So that's kind of something I've been talking about over the last little while, week, over the last couple of days. And and just trying to educate myself as much as I possibly can. The history of my nation. Where do the elders stand? Right? That's been so important to me, is going and visiting, picking up the phone. Right? There's been times where, you hear this thing, get the hell off of Google and go and talk to your elders, right? And so making that the forefront of my action and taking that initiative, I think, is going to take me a long way. And
Do you think because one of my favorite things about you is your relationship with your daughter. Uh your daughter's the coolest, you know? But because you're the coolest and the relationship you guys have is so awesome,
yeah,
but it's like also so funny.
yeah,
Even like the things you bicker about
hmm,
is so funny.
yeah.
It's so entertaining to me.
Motherhood, parenthood is
Yeah. So do you think your role as a mother is gonna contribute to your role as a leader?
100%. And the reason why I feel so confidently about that is my relationship with my daughter is everything. Price and being a mom and becoming a mother at a very young age was a lot of survival. And that's something you and I have talked about multiple times. And learning so much about myself, motherhood has healed so many parts of me that I didn't know needed healing until we're actually in the situation. So you apply that to something like leadership, right? You're not learning things and you're not knowing how to navigate tough times, good times, until you're actually in that position, right? And you talk about being a role model, being a young mom, being a young parent, and anyone who has been that in their life understand the struggle, and ultimately knowing this person, this little person, depends on me. If I don't show up, who is going to show up? If I don't teach her or help her navigate life, who is going to do that? And you take that into a leadership position. And that's been the forefront of my mind. And that's been my thought process throughout these last number of days, right? And taking that into my campaign, and knowing that what I leave behind when my days are done is what Price is left with. The mark that I leave on Price is everything. It's everything I think about. It consumes my mind more maybe than it should, constantly worrying about, am I doing the right thing? And you start to see this trend of how my mind works, right? Because that is how I feel in motherhood, is how I feel in leadership. And maybe those things can be the same thing, right? But Price is, and being a mom has created a version of me that I could have only dreamed about before I became a mom. And I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to get emotional. Price is going to watch this and be like, wow, that's embarrassing. You really cried talking about me. And we talk about motherhood, and it's a blast. Kids are so resilient. They are so adaptable, and anything life throws at us, Price is just along for the ride, right? And she's taught me to be that. You can't have control over everything. You can't have control over what people think of you. You can't have control over some of the situations that come your way. It's how you react to it. It's how you honor your own values and sticking to those values, especially when times get tough, right? And it's almost like we talk about, okay, you want to be this healed, you want to show up as this healed, fulfilled version of yourself. That gets put to the test when life gives you those curveballs. Are you going to show up as the person that you talk about? Right? And that's something I take my motherhood, my work life, my personal life. I try to make it all consistent. Right. And I think that is going to ultimately show in my leadership skills, in my candidacy. If I get elected, that's going to remain constant because I've practiced it enough. I've practiced it enough. And you refer to life and having a toolbox. Is your toolbox full? Is your toolbox empty? Is it half full? Right? Do you have the tools to navigate hard conversations, difficult situations, incredible opportunity? Are you going to know when to act on those? Right? And so you think of life and having that toolbox with you. I think that toolbox is something I'm personally proud of, and something that I'm able to take in every aspect of my life, every hat that I wear. I have my toolbox with me, right? And it when I talk about it that way and use that analogy, it makes it easier to understand, right? In my mind, it makes it easier to think I can handle anything life throws at me, good and bad. I want to be able to navigate the tough times, and I want to be able to enjoy the good times. Maybe it's scary. Maybe there's anxiousness involved. Maybe there's a lot of unknown, but not taking these moments for granted, especially in motherhood, right? And wanting to show Price that you can do anything you put your mind to. How can I tell her that but not do it? Right. And that's the same thing we talked about. You go back to, Neo Wellness and Mio Movement. How can I facilitate wellness if I'm not well? If I have an empty toolbox? Life is messy, right? It's inevitably messy. It's no doubt that you're going to deal with these really low lows sometimes. How do you deal with that? Instead of life seeming like it's a roller coaster, how do you keep your mindset at a constant? Yeah, it sucks right now. Yeah, it's going really good right now. How do I make myself good regardless? And to be able to enjoy it, not take opportunity for granted. And so that's something that in motherhood, it translates into every aspect of my life. And I'm just so proud of the kid that Price is. She's going to be 10 next Saturday. And the last decade is crazy. Becoming a mom when I was 20 years old, not knowing what the future holds, even in the slightest, but knowing I have to show up. I have to do a good job. And I give Price a lot of credit in terms of my work ethic. I had to. Otherwise, who else was? Right. So that's my little piece on motherhood. And I could go on all
Her
day
birthday is
about
the
being a parent.
31st.
Yeah.
You know, it would be the best present.
Making her walk 100,000 steps.
No, walking 100,000 steps for her.
Yeah. Probably not. Yeah, so we're actually not having a birthday party.
Yeah, we're celebrate on the first.
Yeah. And you know what she would say? Do you remember last time you walked that? You cried the whole next day? And we're going to miss my birthday party for that. It would be hilarious. She is so funny. She is so smart. She truly is wise beyond her years. And kids understand more than what we give them credit for. They really do. Kids are brilliant. And we talk about youth and youth being the future. I want to show Price what a good life can look like. I want her to travel. I want her to see everything I didn't get to experience when I was her age, right? And of course, we all want that for our kids. And you want that, but how do you provide that? How do you provide her those opportunities because she deserves that? Right. And so again, that goes into the work ethic part of it. I want to give my kid the best life. I want to let her be a kid. I don't want her to worry about external factors that actually have nothing to do with her. I want my choices, I want her to reap the benefits of the choices that I make in my life. Right. And so for her to see me in a leadership position, I want her to know how I tried to keep myself small. Right. I don't want that to ever be even a thought in her life. For her to, be at the age that she's at and see me in a leadership position, I can do that.
I think she's seen you in a leadership position.
Yeah.
It's like when I say everything you do is in a leadership position.
Yeah.
Like that is you. Everything in every area of your life has led you to lead.
Yeah.
Without you even realizing it, without
That's
you even
exactly it.
knowing
Yes.
that it was happening. You're the leader of a family, you're the leader of a business, you're the leader of all these different things, like you are a leader.
And I think also when you say not even realizing, from a very young age, I wasn't given a choice. I had to be put in being an older sister, being the oldest sister. There's always this talk of being the oldest daughter, you become the second mom. Being raised by a single mother for all of my life in those really crucial, important years of my life during high school, after high school, into my early adulthood, it was my mother. And I give my mother so much credit. She raised three daughters all on her own, and she showed up no matter what. And now that I think about it, she wanted her choices and she wanted her kids to reap the benefit of her choices. And that was it. She, putting her daughters through school, buying them she bought me my first vehicle, right? As a single parent. And thinking about it now, that is incredible. Being a single mom for a lot of years to one daughter, she had three, putting them through college, right? My younger sister played multi sports at a college level, right? And my mom never saying, I did that. Maybe she thought it, but it wasn't in a boastful way. All she wanted was her kids to live a good life with the circumstances that she had, right? And so I think it goes so much farther. My mom sat on council. My mom held these leadership roles within her siblings, her work life, her family, right? My mom's siblings, if they need something, that's who they call, right? And so it's almost like this ripple effect, having these leadership positions without knowing, because that's exactly what my mom was, and giving her so much credit, right? And she really did that, and she did a really good job. She was a good mom. She is a good mom. She's a great grandparent, right? She's still a great sibling, a great employee. She's all of these things, but I don't think she gives herself credit for any of it, right? And kind of knowing, I've learned so much from her. She helps me navigate a lot of hardships in life. She has great advice to give. She has great insight. For her too, it's almost like that ripple effect. She didn't know that she wore all of these hats and she had to take on that leadership role, and not knowing the effect that that had on me in really good ways, right? Sometimes when you're raised by a single mom, and there's that survival instinct, right? That survival skill, and feeling protective over my sisters as if they were my own kids, right? I will do anything to protect you. I will do anything to make sure that you're safe, that you're happy, no matter where you are in the world. That's how I feel as a parent. That's how I feel about my work. I'm so protective of my work ethic that because I'm proud of it and I worked really, really hard to acquire those skills. But yeah, my mom is she's a gem. My mom is the best, and that I give a lot of credit to her in where I'm at now, and even getting older. Right? She is married. My stepdad is great, and he's so great to her. But knowing that her and I grew up together, and it's the same thing with Price and I.
Mm.
We are growing up together. That is sometimes really scary to think about, having that responsibility of creating and shaping this little human's worldview without letting, I don't want her to know what trauma feels like. It's inevitable in her life, but if I have control over it, I don't want that to be the case. And that was something that my mom tried really hard to navigate through when we were kids, right? So it's really crazy to see. And we talk about that intergenerational, you talk about the way you were raised is what you know. And I'm really proud of what I know. I'm really proud of what I learned in terms of my mother, in terms of motherhood, in terms of womanhood. Women are incredible. Women, I just think so highly of them, whether I agree with them, whether I disagree with them. Women are the change makers in the world, and mothers are just really doing the damn thing. And maybe even holding this position and knowing both things can coexist. Motherhood, holding a leadership role, they can coexist and they can happen at the same time. When do we start having the conversation that motherhood and moms can be CEOs? They can be founders. They can lead a nation, right? While still having that matriarchal, that motherly presence in their home life. Why can't they coexist?
Mhm.
Right? We have so many instances of women in the world, even fathers, doing exactly that. And so I think when we talk about change, times are changing and you don't have to pick one or the other. And I think that is so important. It's long overdue. Um, yeah, that's my take on parenthood and leadership.
We're
How long are we into this
just
year?
over an hour.
That's a lot of yap.
Yeah. So we'll probably not go for much longer.
Okay.
But
Or you got to edit all of this.
no, I don't even really edit it.
Just cut
I just
certain little blurbs.
uh not even really.
Okay. Well, just people are going to
So
know
whatever you're saying is
PTSD
gonna
from
be in there.
politics.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh yeah, I don't really cut. I just listen to it. I just let it
I feel like
I just let it go.
I'm doing a lot of yapping as opposed to conversating.
Which is fine.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's good. It's like some like you're I think my seventh guest only.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's people sharing and it's both great.
Mm-hmm.
They're it's fun, just learning.
I don't feel nervous anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's one thing I'm good at, you ask me to yap, I'll yap. Yeah.
Okay, well let's yap about one more thing.
Okay.
Before we go. I wanted to ask you what is wellness to you?
Wellness is, oh man. Wellness, I think, first and foremost, saved my life. Wellness, everything about wellness contributed to the overall quality of my life. If we go back to even, 2020, I was in a very unhealthy state in terms of my alcohol consumption. And a lot of people, may or may not know this, but I felt like I was developing a really big issue with alcohol. When I would drink, I would go out with my friends. One night was turning into a night and then a day, right? And it was so normalized. go out with your friends. It's summertime, right? And then we couldn't do that anymore because of the beloved C word. COVID happened. We had to stay in the house. And then my drinking didn't stop. And remembering how I was feeling, forced to stay inside and stay in my own thoughts. And that was a scary thing at the time, not knowing how to be alone, not knowing how to be in your own thoughts. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because there's so much context to the reason why I feel the way I do about wellness. I remember one day I went into my basement and I don't even know who it belonged to. There was a kettlebell in my basement, and it was one of those bulky kettlebells. I think you get it from like Walmart or something, where it was like unnecessarily big for being like 12 pounds. Like it was just, and I remember thinking, I'm like, the gym was a foreign concept to me. Movement was a foreign concept to me. I was an athlete, but working out with intention wasn't something I had ever done. So I'm going in my basement. I think I was doing the laundry or something. And I was like, oh, it'd be kind of nice to get a workout in, whatever that means. Right. Maybe it was 2019, 2020. And so every day I was doing laundry. I was walking by the kettlebell. When are you going to pick it up? What are you going to do with it? And one day I was downstairs, said, you know what? Let's just open something on YouTube. Let's get a workout in. And this is something I'm very open about because I think the representation matters. I was probably 260, 270 pounds at the time. And my knees, my joints, everything didn't feel good. And doing this workout, I must have been like 12, 15 minutes in and I was dying. I didn't feel good. This isn't enjoyable, right? Do it again the next day. Maybe you only last 8 minutes. And all I had was a kettlebell and body weight workouts. And I was looking these things up online. And eventually, oh, look at this. There's a treadmill gathering dust all folded up in, I think it was my mom's at one point in time, taking it down. The thing was dusty. It was just a basement piece of furniture that was never touched. And then all of a sudden I start walking on it. And walking turned into trying to jog, which turned into 30-second sprint intervals. And suddenly I didn't feel so shitty anymore. Not only physically, but all of a sudden my brain started feeling better. And knowing like, is this what I've been missing out on? Is this how we're supposed to feel? I enjoy it. Starting to run outside. My love for running, came, and all of a sudden 2 kilometers and 5 kilometers felt good. And seeing results, my clothes fit better. My joints feel better. Right. And so researching more about wellness, because when I had grown up, it was crash dieting. You don't eat carbs. You do the 21-day fast. You drink meal replacements. That was my knowledge on wellness. Right. So then I started falling in love with how I felt moving my body. Okay, well, that's the physical aspect of it. Right. So then I started realizing I love the way that I feel. I have mental clarity now. I don't have this urge. I'm filling my time with things other than drinking. Right. So then, it's 2020, you have to be outside. 2021 comes and all of a sudden I felt so good. And I come across this brand, Naval Wellness. They put a call out for ambassadors. So again, I can't do that. I can't do that. Were you kidding me? I look like this. I can't model clothes. I can't take pictures. I had no idea what it entailed. Right. But at the time, I'm learning more about wellness. Right. And so fast forward, my love for wellness happened. And it was one, it's representation. Wellness is representation. You don't need to have the perfect setup. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You don't need to look a certain way in order to practice wellness in whatever area of your life. Wellness, the good thing about wellness is it is always ready for you whenever you're coming to it for the first time. You're coming back to it after an X amount of months. Wellness is always there, and it feels good. Wellness feels like a warm hug. Wellness feels like a safe space. It Wellness wants you to feel your absolute best the way you're intended to feel. That's what wellness means to me. It saved my life. I can't say enough good things about it. Even sometimes when I don't feel well, wellness allowed me to develop a toolkit knowing that it's just a season. Does that season last a day? Does it last 6 months? Maybe. But it allowed me to navigate my life in such a healthy, quality way. Yeah. That's what wellness means to me. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, that was
Perfect.
awesome.
I think it was a lengthy answer.
No, it was a perfect answer.
I was trying to how can you name wellness in one way? I don't think you can.
No.
How do you define wellness? What does wellness mean to you is a better question. Tough one, hey?
I wasn't expecting this.
Cut.
Yeah. And we'll go. I don't know. I think wellness is like happiness and peace and
Contentment.
And
not to be confused, wellness doesn't just mean moving your body.
Yeah. It's everything. It's spiritual, it's mental, emotional, and just like building everything together. Because sometimes you focus on one and the other three crumble.
Yes.
Or you're focusing on one because you don't want to focus on another one.
Yes.
And that one builds up. So it's just like...
And it catches up to you over time.
Just finding that peace, which is different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And some people need one aspect more than another. Yep. Or prefer, or just like, or one brings them more joy than another.
Yep.
And just like... But also like not just staying where you're comfortable. You know, like you gotta add plates to the bar sometimes. You gotta maybe read that book you didn't want to have, that hard conversation. Do a therapy session. You have to, do these things that maybe you don't want to do. I heard a thing. My friend Chris, he said, feelings follow action. So I think a lot of times people are waiting to feel a certain way before they start something. Like I'll go to the gym when I feel more but it's like a good feeling will follow the action. So you'll feel good after you go to therapy. You'll feel good after you do your workout, after you meditate, after you have that conversation. It's like you can't wait.
And wellness, I think, is a really good point of, we talk about instant gratification. Wellness is not that.
It's not that.
It's going to actually do the opposite.
It's instant pain.
Yes. It's actually going to feel the opposite until you find what it is, right? Wellness, and that's so true, because you say feelings follow action. There's a lot of people navigating the world the opposite way. Their actions follow their feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And that isn't good.
Yeah.
In some circumstances.
They feel a certain way, so they eat, so they lay on the couch, so they skip something that they should be doing. And
they take themselves away from having healthy relationships. We hear of so many instances. So you're right. Feelings follow action.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And honestly, I just heard that like a month ago, and I can't stop thinking about that. It's like
that's how I felt when you told me how your friend shared with you, can't always be sunny.
Yeah.
I think about that so often.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember who you said shared it with you.
I don't remember either, but honestly, it was probably Chris again.
Why do I feel like it was? I feel like you mentioned that name.
If anyone, you can go look up Chris Cullen on Instagram. He's a friend of mine, and he is amazing. He has such great insight on mental health. But one thing he said that Savannah's talking about is that it can't always be sunny. Like things don't grow if there's no rain. Plants and trees and flowers. If there's no rain, then everything dies. Mm-hmm. So you need the rain, and then you need it to be sunny to grow, and you need it to cycle like that.
And the way I look at it is, What am I going to learn from these hardships, from these days that aren't sunny, from this rain? What is this season going to teach me when I come out on the other side?
Yeah.
These rainy days serve a purpose. It can't always be sunny. How real is that? How simple is that? Of course, it can't always be sunny. But what does that mean? Right. And that's a phrase that I take with me often. Isn't it crazy that people share tidbits of lasting impact and how that has an impact on somebody else?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, this guy doesn't even know what he said is in my brain so often.
Yeah. Doesn't even know me, has never met me. And
but he would be, you hear about these things. And that's just the last thing I'll share before we get out of here is being able to lead and leave that lasting impact, whether you know that you're leaving it, right? And you talk about Chris. If he said, this lasting impact of what I shared resonates with one person, a true leader will say, that's enough. That's good enough for me. And I think that's been my takeaway of sharing the lasting impact that others have left on me, and coming from a leader's perspective. If I can do that for one person, for one youth, for one peer, for one elder, whatever it may be, if I can do that for one person and leave a lasting impact, a lasting impression, I feel like I will have done my job. And we hear about that all the time, and it's never been more true for me than it is now. This was good. This was good. Yeah. Thanks for freaking having me.
2 therapy sessions.
2 therapy sessions. I'm going to eat
I was going to say, what your therapist said to you? I'm just like, man, your therapist is smart. I need to have your therapist on here.
Ashley Breland of Breland Counseling.
Amazing.
She is Métis. She holds an incredible amount of knowledge. Every time I leave there, I have a different takeaway, and it's only been a couple of months. The work that I have unhashed with her, even up until this point, is enough for me to say, you've left a lasting impact on me. And I tell her that every session. You know how grateful I am for you? Therapy is one of the best things I've ever done for myself. And if anyone is looking for a Métis counselor, someone who sees Indigenous worldview, someone who, again, has those takeaways in terms of what does decolonization, when are we done practicing decolonization, and when are we just being Indigenous, right? When are we just being Métis? Whatever it is, wherever that resonates with you in your life, I would highly recommend. She has her own practice here in Saskatoon. Again, it's Breland Counseling. Yeah, she's incredible.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up. 1 hour and 19. This is officially the longest podcast I've done.
What an honor. Talking about hot dogs, crying. This is good.
This is awesome. And I just want to say, like, it's very, it's like, you're probably one of my most valuable friends. You know, we talk about, the things we talk about, I don't talk about with most people. I feel like our mindsets are very similar, so we can talk forever. You know, our drives to communities are some of the best times ever. Best laughs, best, just like everything, emotions. You know, we talk about real stuff, we talk about fun, and it's just like, you're a very good person to have in my life, and you're a very great friend, and you're a great mom, and it's awesome to know you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me yap. And like I was saying, I wish this friendship on everybody. Maybe we're just full of ourselves and think we're really cool friends to have. I wish this friendship on everybody.